more than 2 centuries ago, in a time when America was still defining what freedom truly meant. A fragile nation stood on the edge of collapse. Brother was ready to fight brother. The land was divided by hatred and slavery, and the future of the United States seemed uncertain. In the middle of this storm stood a tall, quiet man with a deeply lined face and burdened eyes, a man who carried the weight of an entire nation on his shoulders. How did a boy born in a poor wooden cabin, with no wealth, no powerful family name, and almost no formal education, rise to become the leader who would save a nation and redefine human freedom? This is not just the story of a president, it is the story of courage in the face of chaos, of moral strength tested by war, and of a man whose decisions would change the course of history forever. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, entered the White House at the most dangerous moment in American history. The country was tearing itself apart over the issue of slavery, and the Civil War had already begun to cast its dark shadow across the nation. Lincoln was not born a hero, nor was he shaped by privilege. He was shaped by hardship, loss, and an unshakable belief in equality and justice. As president, he faced unimaginable pressure, military defeats, political enemies, public criticism, and personal tragedy, yet he never lost sight of his purpose. He believed the Union must be preserved, and that a nation built on the idea that all men are created equal could not survive while millions remained in chains. To understand Abraham Lincoln's greatness, we must look beyond the marble statues and famous speeches and step into the life of the man himself. Beginning with his humble origins and the values that shaped one of the most important leaders the world has ever known.
Abraham Lincoln was born on February 12, 1809, in a small log cabin in Kentucky, into a life of hardship and poverty. His family struggled constantly, moving from place to place in search of better opportunities. Lincoln lost his mother at a young age, an event that deeply affected him and shaped his quiet, reflective nature. Formal education was rare in his early life. In total, he received less than a year of schooling. Yet Lincoln possessed an intense hunger for knowledge. He read books by candlelight, borrowed texts whenever he could, and taught himself history, law, and literature. These early struggles gave him empathy for ordinary people and a deep understanding of human suffering. Living on the frontier also exposed him to the harsh realities of slavery, planting the moral seeds that would later define his leadership. His childhood was not one of comfort or privilege, but it forged resilience, honesty, and determination, qualities that would carry him from a humble cabin to the highest office in the land. As a young man, Lincoln worked various jobs: farm laborer, store clerk, surveyor, before discovering his talent for law. He became a self-taught lawyer, earning a reputation for fairness, logic, and integrity. His honesty earned him the nickname Honest Abe, a title that followed him throughout his life. Lincoln entered politics through the Illinois state legislature, where his powerful speaking skills and moral clarity began to stand out. His national recognition grew during the famous Lincoln-Douglas debates, where he openly challenged the expansion of slavery. Though he lost that Senate race, his arguments reached far beyond Illinois. People across the country began to see him as a leader who spoke not for power, but for principle. Lincoln's rise was slow and difficult, marked by failure as much as success, but each setback strengthened his resolve. He believed that democracy depended on truth, and that leadership required moral courage, not popularity. In 1860, Abraham Lincoln was elected President of the United States, and almost immediately, the nation began to fall apart. Southern states seceded, fearing the end of slavery, and the Civil War erupted. Lincoln now faced the greatest crisis in American history. He inherited a divided nation, an unprepared army, and immense public pressure. Every decision carried the weight of thousands of lives. Despite military failures and criticism from all sides, Lincoln remained committed to preserving the Union. He worked tirelessly, often sleeping little, burdened by the constant flow of battlefield reports. His leadership during this time was marked by patience, strategic thinking, and deep personal sorrow. Lincoln understood that victory would not come quickly or easily. The Civil War tested not only the nation's strength, but also Lincoln's character, forcing him to balance justice, mercy, and survival in a time of unimaginable violence. As the war progressed, Lincoln came to believe that the fight was not only about preserving the Union, but about redefining the moral foundation of America. In 1863, he issued the Emancipation Proclamation, declaring freedom for enslaved people in the Confederate States. This decision transformed the war into a battle for human freedom and equality. Though the proclamation did not end slavery immediately, it sent a powerful message to the world. Lincoln faced strong opposition, even from within his own government, but he stood firm. He later pushed for the 13th Amendment, which permanently abolished slavery throughout the United States. Lincoln's moral leadership reshaped the meaning of democracy, proving that a nation must align its actions with its ideals. His belief that all people deserved dignity and freedom remains one of the most powerful legacies in human history. In April 1865, as the Civil War neared its end and the nation began to dream of healing, tragedy struck. Abraham Lincoln was assassinated at Ford's Theater by John Wilkes Booth. The shock was immediate and devastating. The man who had guided the nation through its darkest hour was gone. Millions mourned his death, feeling as though they had lost not just a president, but a father figure. Lincoln did not live to see the full rebuilding of the nation he saved. His assassination turned him into a martyr for unity and freedom. The timing of his death, just as peace was within reach, made the loss even more painful. Yet his final sacrifice cemented his place in history as a leader who gave everything for his country. As the echoes of war faded and a broken nation struggled to find its way forward, the voice that had guided America through its darkest night was suddenly silenced. Yet Abraham Lincoln did not disappear with his death. He became something greater than a man. He became an idea that leadership demands sacrifice, that power must serve justice, and that freedom is not a gift given to a few, but a right owed to all. From a lonely log cabin to the halls of the White House, Lincoln's life was a testament to what unwavering moral courage can achieve, even against impossible odds. Today, the world still wrestles with division, inequality, and the cost of hatred, challenges that Lincoln understood all too well. His words continue to speak across time, reminding us that nations are not held together by force, but by shared values and human dignity. Abraham Lincoln did not live to see the full realization of his dream, but he gave humanity a powerful blueprint for justice and unity. And as long as people continue to believe in equality, courage, and compassion, the legacy of Abraham Lincoln will never fade. It will continue to guide the world forward, just as it once guided a nation on the brink of collapse.